Welcome everyone to our Little Stars Foundation webinar. My name's Andrea McDonald and I'm one of the founding directors of recruitment firm U&U and a proud ambassador for Little Stars Foundation. Established back in 2016, the foundation has a vision to create brighter futures for children and young people living in foster, kingship and residential care. Today we're speaking with Mark Galvin and Dr. Melissa Kaltner, who are the founding partners of human services design, measurement and evaluation firm Lumenia. They'll be providing us with some key insights from an independent social return on investment evaluation that Little Stars Foundation recently commissioned them to undertake on their signature learning support program, Little Stars Learners. We'd like to begin by acknowledging the traditional owners of the land on which we meet today. We'd also like to pay our respects to elders past and present. Through its internal reporting and evaluation channels, the Little Stars Learners program has consistently received positive feedback and reviews and has experienced a year-on-year 82% return rate. However, Little Stars Foundation was keen to better understand the wide-reaching impact of the program from their stakeholders in the community and how the program is performing and working from their perspectives. This is where Mark Galvin and Dr. Melissa Kaltner from Lumenia entered the picture. Mark and Melissa's work at Lumenia is underpinned by a shared commitment to evidence-empowered collaborative approaches. They engage in dynamic, hands-on and specialised practices working in partnership to bring light to complex services and systems, specialising in the impact of child, family and community services policies and programs, such as Little Stars Foundation's Little Stars Learning Program. Welcome, Mark and Melissa. If you're ready, let's move on to some questions. Tell us a little bit more about how you went about understanding the impact of the program.
Thanks, Andrea. So to really understand the impact of Little Stars Learners, we used a social return on investment methodology. So put simply, SROI is a way of asking what social and economic value the program generates for key beneficiaries and the community for every dollar invested in the program. It's really important to remember that not everything we value has a market price. And sometimes the true value is in things like a child's newfound confidence, their ability to engage in school, or the sense of support that they get from people who understand their unique challenges. So the SROI is about looking at the real life changes the program brings to the lives of children and others, like improved confidence, better engagement in school, improved carer well-being, and greater opportunities for economic participation. So to do this, we developed the program logic for Little Stars Learners, and that's a method of describing how the program is intended to work and what outcomes it's expected to achieve. We then developed the evidence base for the impact of Little Stars Learners through targeted research and structured interviews and consultations with a range of different stakeholders, just to get a sense of the outcomes that Little Stars Learners is delivering for children and other beneficiaries. We then quantified these benefits and translated those impacts into a form that shows what economic and social value is created. So it's a way of illustrating that programs like Little Stars Learners provide measurable benefits that make a real difference in the lives of children in care.
What did you hear from children, the carers and other stakeholders on what makes Little Stars Learners a unique support for children in out-of-home care?
Thanks so much for that question, Andrea, and it's a really important one. There are a range of key elements which stakeholders for Little Stars, including, as you said, carers, caseworkers, and a broad range of professional stakeholders provided to us during our evaluation. These included a real focus on the trauma-informed approach that Little Stars takes on within its work, with learning support mentors who are trained in trauma-informed practices and who are really responsive to the needs of children who've experienced trauma. Little Stars was spoken about as providing really flexible and personalised support, and we heard a lot of examples where Little Stars mentors had really worked and gone above and beyond to ensure that their program was tailored to the needs of individual children with whom they were working, with a relationships-focused approach. And the relationships-focused approach goes beyond that education journey, and whilst it supports and underpins some of that engagement that we heard about, it actually also provides an enduring and stability, a level of stability and enduring connection relationship for those children and young people who are part of the program. There were many positive impacts beyond education, which we heard about for children who were part of that program, and they include children's confidence and self-esteem, children's enhanced social skills and their ability to form long-term relationships with other adults as a result of the initial relationship which they built with their mentors, and those longer-term impacts of children's view of themselves as learners, which changed their trajectories moving forward.
You touched on a few things, but what were some of the changes you observed in the lives of the children and young people supported by the program?
Thanks, Andrea. Look, one of the most powerful things we've seen is how much confidence and self-esteem has grown for the children in the Little Stars Learners program. We found that they were not only getting better academic results, but taking on things like more leadership opportunities at school, participating in extracurricular activities, whether that be sport, recreation, and other extracurricular activities, building relationships and experiencing better mental health because they felt better about themselves and their abilities as learners. So Little Stars Learners is about so much more than schoolwork. It's helping kids see new possibilities for themselves, and that confidence and growing self-belief, as Mel said, has a ripple effect. So that when children feel supported and empowered, they're more likely to experience stable placements, which can prevent the emotional and financial costs of things like placement breakdown, but also boost the well-being of carers by alleviating stress and anxiety that comes about when children fall behind at school. And success in education has obviously longer-term community benefits, so you can appreciate that the impact of this program reaches far beyond the classroom.
Absolutely. Can you share any stories or have any sort of specific examples from the children or carers that really sort of speak to the program's transformation impact?
Thanks, Andrea. We'll share some de-identified stories just to provide you with a good view of the sorts of change that we heard about that was occurring as a result of the children's engagement with the program. We heard from one caseworker of an 11-year-old boy who told us that when he first became the child's caseworker 2 years earlier, the then 9-year-old was illiterate and was having a really hard time at school. He was only attending school for about an hour a day, and this was obviously very limiting for his educational opportunities. When the caseworker met him, he said that the child indicated his goal was to learn to read and write like other kids around him. The caseworker shared that in his view, Little Stars has gotten him to a point where he now sees himself as a learner. And I'll quote from the caseworker because I think it's really important to hear these words from the caseworker's mouth. His reading is unbelievable now. His latest report card gives me goosebumps. He's got A's and B's. This is a direct result, an outcome of the one-on-one from Little Stars. So through that casework, you can really hear the change and the impact of that change that's extended in that child's life. We heard another story of a teenage boy whose father was in prison, and he himself had had a lot of incidents of poor behaviour at school due to violence. The residential carer that was looking after him told us that these incidents haven't happened all year since he's been engaged with Little Stars. That residential carer told us that his behaviour is settled, that he's communicating much better, and that his comments in his report card talk about his effort and him having opportunities to play leadership roles in the school, which they saw was as a direct result of Little Stars and the impact of Little Stars. We also heard from a foster carer who told us that their child was falling behind in school. They described them as living in a fog until Little Stars came along, and that the education support and the support mentors were lovely with great empathy, and they helped that child to understand that it's okay not to understand things within school and that it's okay to ask for help. And that child went from getting D's and C's on their report card to A's and B's. But the real point that the carer emphasised was that that child's confidence had improved to no end, in their view. So there's some really powerful stories that show that change that occurs both in terms of educational engagement, but that much broader change as a result of the program.
Yeah, that's amazing. What did you find when you were considering the economic return of the program?
Yeah, thanks, Andrea. The modelling was based on investing in 400 children, which generated a total social and economic benefit of just over $13 million across 6 key beneficiary groups. So that included children, their carers, government, and the wider community. So when we looked at the social and economic return of the Little Stars Learners program, the results were really exciting. So for every dollar invested in this program, it generates at least $5.60 in social and economic value, which is a fantastic result. It's just incredible that the impact goes far beyond just the children's personal growth. And while 40% of that value directly benefits children in the program through improvements in confidence and mental health and educational engagement, there are also major benefits to carers, as I said earlier, who experience more harmonious households and less chance of placement breakdown and reduced stress and anxiety. The community benefits too, with reduced costs to out-of-home care, where those placement breakdowns are avoided, improved economic participation by children who achieve better at school, and children are more likely to engage in pro-social activities and behaviours and improve their social connections ongoing. So, like I said, it's a ripple effect that shows just how much this program gives back, not just in dollars, but in real life-changing outcomes for everyone involved.
Yeah, absolutely. What opportunities were identified to build on this impact?
Thanks, Andrea. So one of the questions that we always ask within any sort of evaluation or reflective practice piece is that question around the opportunities for strengthening impact. When we ask this question of key stakeholders within the Little Stars learners context, it's fair to say that there were some really consistent themes around expanding the program's reach and accessibility and enabling the program to be more widely available across the state. I'll quote one of the non-government organisation team leaders that we spoke to who had a number of children who were currently participating in the program from their caseload and previous participants too. She said, "I just wish that all children in care could access these supports, like our kids in Little Stars. They make such a difference." And I think that really encapsulates the sort of feedback that we had. Stakeholders spoke about looking at additional funding options to cover costs, the potential that perhaps the Department of Child Safety could expand funding to that end, and fundraising activities and other opportunities that might support the program to expand, really recognising the significance of change that is driven through the program and those opportunities to enable more children and young people to benefit from the program in the way that they had viewed their children to be growing through that program.
Thank you both. That brings us to the end of the session today, and we hope that you've gained some insight into the value of what we do and the vital impact it is having on benefiting the children, the carers, the education system and the community at large. Lumenia's evaluation and analysis demonstrates that by investing in these young lives, we can improve engagement in learning and benefit the child protection system by supporting carers and improving placement stability. The program also benefits the broader community by increasing pro-social behaviours in young people and supporting our teachers and schools, which must have a flow-on effect to issues like health and youth justice. Mark and Melissa, thank you. It's been wonderful speaking with you both today, and thank you for taking time out of your busy schedules.
Thanks so much, Andrea. It's fantastic to be here and to be able to share some of those stories that we heard throughout the evaluation.
Yeah, thanks, Andrea. It's been a pleasure to be involved.
And to you, our audience, thank you for watching. If you'd like to understand more about Little Stars Foundation, their Little Stars Learners Program, and Lumenia's social return on investment analysis, please scan the QR code on your screen or visit the Little Stars Foundation website at littlestarsfoundation.org.au. You can also call us on 07 3062 9455. Thank you.